But first, we just heard from Ambassador Pete Hoekstra. I want to give Kristina Karamo a chance to weigh in here as well. She says she's the MIB GOP chair, and she's not going anywhere. We just heard Ambassador Hoekstra earlier on the program.
Yeah, I talked to the president on Friday night, and we had a great conversation, and we were just talking. And he said, "Hey, Pete, you want my endorsement?" And I said, "I would love your endorsement, Mr. President." And he says, "Okay, you'll have it. I'll have it out in 15 minutes." And, 15, I think about 10, 12 minutes later, it was out on Truth Social. And so, typically, Justin, when the president indicates a preference for a position like this, really his campaign partner in a key state or at the national level, the president gets his whoosh. We want a seamless integration between the president's team, the national committee, and also state committees, because guess what? We want to win. We want to win in November. We need to win for the president, but most importantly, we need to win for America.
Kristina Karamo says she's the chair and she's not going anywhere. She joins us right now. Kristina, thank you for taking the time this morning.
Thank you, Justin, for having me on.
I think it's been important to make sure that people hear from everyone. Like I said before, I have friends and respect to lots of different folks at every angle of this story, and I want to make sure that people hear, in particular from you on this. So what do you make after this week and having the president come out, someone who you've supported and supported you in the past, with this statement on Truth Social?
And I respect President Trump, no doubt, and I'm not going to say anything negative regarding him, but there's a reason the majority of the committee supports me still. People have to understand about people at this level. They have handlers and people around them who give them, you're taking inbound from thousands and thousands of people. There's no way to sort through all the information. And there's a reason the committee supports me. The committee selected me. The committee continues to support me because the committee knows intimately the inside baseball, what's happening day to day, and how our team has overcome. What people need to understand is that I'm not going to resign, even though the majority of the committee wants to support me, because somebody we love and respect is getting bad information. Granted, considering Pete Hoekstra's past, he has better connections than I do. And the delegates of Michigan really don't care about that type of stuff because they don't want what we walked away from. Well, and it's not what people need to understand. Our philosophy, when I say our, because I'm speaking not just for myself, but the people who elected me and the committee members who want me to remain as chair, it's not as though we have those people over there, we want nothing to do with you. That's not what it is. But we've had a failed status quo where we are turning to, and I say this in a joking manner, we're turning to these sugar daddies to make sure that they fund us, even though their philosophies are toxic and we lose. But they give us the comfort of a lot of money. And that's what we can't go back to, because we saw what happened in 2020. What did that get us, right? We saw, I watched the election get rigged. I watched them commit election crimes in my face. And then the subsequent administration, who had the money, didn't do anything about it, no type of investigation, no type of lawsuits, just let it go, move on. And what about the first executive director that Ron Weiser hired tell all of us, stop your navel gazing and move on? Even though we saw those crimes, we saw the 2020 election get rigged. Why is that important? Our focus is preparing and strengthening each county. We do not believe in a top-down political approach. We believe in a bottom-up approach. The delegates who put me here share that vision, and I have to implement that, irrespective of what national figures they want a different way. That's not their decision. The decision rests in the delegates. The decision rests in the committee. Like I said, there's a reason the majority of the committee continues to support me, because they understand the nuance and inside baseball that someone getting thousands and thousands of inbound daily just can't just from a human capacity perspective, fully understand. And so we have to take a different approach to this party. What I will say to you, Justin, is my time as chair, there is a Republican machine, and that machine is not a good one, right? It's not like the Democrat machine where they actually clank out election wins. This machine is designed to protect the interests of a small few. Whoever has the money to bribe or to get what they want, that's what the Republican machine is meant to protect. It's not about protecting the electorate. Why do you think the average Republican voter is so disgusted with the RNC? And I'm going to call out the RNC right now, because the RNC, Ronna McDaniel, And the RNC legal counsel told myself and our general counsel that they were not going to weigh in on this matter. They were going to stay out of it. But then last week, Monday, Pete is touting how they're going to make a decision in a day or two, and that's what they do. And then they put out a decision that, this isn't a final conclusion. This is just, based on preliminary. That's grossly irresponsible for them to put out a statement without having all the information. But they have all the information. They just want Pete as chair. That's why they're all working together. And how can you say, oh, Kristina, that sounds an over-top accusation? No, it's not. For him to make that statement and to accurately know what they're going to do when they're telling me something totally different. And I can say this, Justin, as chair of the Michigan Republican Party, I frequently get communications regarding changes in executive membership or the chairmanship of county and district parties. That communication comes from the party secretary. I would never accept claims from someone who isn't the party secretary or the chair just because some person claimed, unless they were already working with these folks in the beginning. Because our secretary is our record keeper. I mean, several of these individuals who signed this document to even take up the vote were not even legally able to do so for reasons per our bylaws, our secretary and treasurer attest to. And additionally, they didn't follow even the quorum rules. I mean, Justin, we can go down a laundry list of violations. And the RNC was given our policy committee report, which laid all of this stuff out. And our committee, again, the majority of the committee agreed with the policy committee. Once again, these are the folks who work the party day to day, know the inside baseball nuance. Our committee voted overwhelmingly that this report, to accept their report, and that their gathering on the 6th was totally illegitimate. And so that's very interesting. And they voted to affirm me. So I am not going to advocate this position because this is what the committee wants me to do and what the delegates want me to do. And I also find it interesting, Justin, if I could add one more point, that the law firm, and also on your show last week, Pete stated that he hoped it wouldn't be settled in court, but yet his minions are suing me. He felt it should be settled in the party, but his minions are suing me because they want the January 6th gathering recognized by the court because the committee won't recognize it because they know it was illegitimate. And what's interesting is the law firm that Melinda Pago is using is the same goon law firm that when Patriots take over county parties, like in Ottawa County, it's the same law firm that was utilized. And I also found it interesting that in the Gateway Pundit, when they talked about the 2020 election and Matt Hall receiving information, guess which law firm he turned over the information from the fraud for the 2020 election that went to a dead end? Yeah, the same law firm that Melinda Pago was using for her lawsuit. So people have to understand how the system works, and it's a facade. It's all fake. And these people are not interested in saving our country. They're not interested in protecting our children's freedom. They're only interested in protecting their little fiefdom at the expense of our freedom.
I know you care about the future of this country. I know you care about the future of the state for our kids and our grandkids. Kristina Karamo, who says she's still the chair of the MIGOP and not going anywhere. Let me ask you, how do we, whether it's you leading the party moving forward, whether it's Ambassador Huckstrom leading the party moving forward, whoever it is and however this works, how do we get people on the other side of this, whatever that looks like? How do we get people together, unite? Because we need all hands on deck to accomplish what we got to accomplish. Our feat is definitely it's monumental, and like I said, I don't think there's ever been an election bigger, and we've got to fix a lot of these problems.
Justin is focused on the mission. And I also think, I am not bothering these people. They continue to harass us. And I say that because, Justin, there have been things that we want to get accomplished that unfortunately our attention has been diverted by these people who are trying to illicitly usurp the chairmanship. And I'm not backing down, not because of me, right? And that's what people really need to understand is our precinct delegates have a particular direction they want the party to go in. And if I'm not the chair and Pete Hoekstra is the chair, that's not going to happen. And our delegates are not going to put up with it because we do not want the status quo. It doesn't work. It has failed us repeatedly. So the point is, how do you get everybody to come together? Focus on the mission. And that's what I do. There's only so much time in my day that I divert to these individuals trying to take the chairmanship away from the delegates in Michigan. I divert the majority of my time towards how we're going to win in 24. Because that's the strategy in and of itself. And it's been a strategy from the beginning of my time as chairmanship, is to constantly spread lies and rumors. And it's the same individuals, right, to connect with Pete Hoekstra. This has been the chaos strategy from the beginning. It's to constantly create chaos and confusion and spread lies. That way everybody is caught up in the drama and the controversy. That way we're not focused on to winning. So they can create a fire, and then they can come in like they're the saviors and put the fire out of the fire that they create. It's people really need to understand how these type of operations work. But we stay focused on the mission. You know, the mission is making sure we have a secure election. We have our election integrity program, 18 points, and we've gathered such great information that now we're prepared to launch some legal actions in order to be preemptive. We're not going to chase the fraud after the fact. So we have those efforts already going. And then our neighborhood team building, that's because our philosophy is ground up. We will not be a strong state unless our counties are strong. Our approach is not top down. I do not believe it's the job of the state party to be a war chest for candidates and that way they can handpick which candidates they support. Because if a candidate doesn't cooperate, then the party doesn't support the candidate financially. I think if we're going to support candidates, it should be something meaningful like the Nebraska GOP does, where the party endorses. That's what we should do if we're going to do any type of candidate support and fight from or also in the standpoint of the neighborhood teams that we are building to have, a victory program or get out to vote program. That's what we do. We provide flyers and other things because I just don't believe that just giving candidates large sums of money, especially I don't know if that candidate is going to spend it in a way that is responsible. So, again, that's a different philosophical approach. And so you got that vision, that's what they've done in years past, or this vision here, where we're about building up the delegates locally and helping the county party be strong, that way they can support the candidates, and then we provide other support for candidates. And if a candidate is doing something great or needs some help, we'll purchase something on behalf of the candidate. But us writing large checks to candidates and passing funds back and forth between various groups, we're just not doing that.
Kristina Karamo says she's the chair of the MIGOP and not going anywhere. Our conversations continue. Please come back and give us updates as things continue to develop. Are you headed to do the RNC winter meeting, or is that a no-go?
Oh, absolutely. I'm the chairwoman of the party, and I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to have this chairmanship stolen from the delegates of Michigan. I mean, Justin, what's kind of funny is we look at what happened with the 2020 election, right, and how the RNC failed to respond. It's no wonder that they would engage in illicit conduct in this moment because they don't care about election integrity. They never meaningfully have. They never cared about protecting the will of the people. And they're trying to do the same thing right now. But what I will say to the folks of Michigan is that the business of the Michigan Republican Party continues. Through all the drama and all the noise, our operations are not in chaos. I have not let it be. It's a complete strategy on doing that. But we make sure that the day-to-day operations of this party continue. We have a convention coming up in 4 weeks. We have not allowed that to falter or waver because we're not going to allow these people to throw our operations into a tornado to where we can't function. So we are fully focused on ensuring that we're successful in 2024, and we will not be distracted.
Kristina Karamo, thank you so much for joining us today, Chair. Appreciate you.
God bless.